Hi guys, and welcome to a tutorial video on how to join a host or a workstation, computer, whatever you want to call it, to the domain controller and get it on the domain, okay, so that it can be properly administered. It's a pretty simple thing to do, but there are a few little things that you need to know. So if you watched any of my videos earlier, I put together a domain controller, and that's the domain controller that we're gonna be connecting this box to. So let's go ahead and get started. We want to get this on a domain. You can see now I'm logged in as a local account here, okay? And we don't want to be on a local account. We want to get on the domain. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to go to our network connections, okay? So right click network connections. We can see here's our network adapter, okay? Properties, right click, properties. And we're going to mess with this thing. You can see here it looks like I already messed with this before, but this will all be blank, okay? And so we gotta use a following IP address. If you want to set a static or you want to let DHCP take over, that's fine. Prefer DNS server, but here's where you gotta punch some numbers in, okay? So you need to know the IP address of your domain server. Oops, I can't type really well today, so bear with me. Okay, so that's the domain controller. If you have more than one domain controller, you can point it to two, or whatever, just as long as you can make sure it talks. But the idea is if one domain controller goes down, this computer would still be able to be on the domain and talk properly. However you have it set up. We only have one domain controller, so we're going to go ahead and tell us to talk to our default gateway, where the DNS can be controlled from there. And now we're going to go to advanced. Okay, now I have had problems. Some people may not have. This is normally checked by default when you come into here, okay? The NetBIOS setting. Use NetBIOS setting from the DHCP server. Okay, I've had problems here, and there's probably a good logical reason why. I just don't know. If you do know the reason, then please tell me in the comments below. Educate me. I'm teachable. So down here, I always check enable NetBIOS over TCP. Just enable it, okay? So that'll take care of that. That won't give you any problems. Sometimes if it's not checked to enable, then it will not allow you to join the domain. So we're going to say, okay, we just configured our DNS and we set it over to TCP. NetBIOS over TCP, we enabled the NetBIOS. Sorry, I can't talk tonight. Wow, I don't know what this is doing. There it goes. Finally, you can see here we got good connection. So we are talking to the DNS server. That's fantastic. So now we're going to go ahead and join this to the domain. Okay, so we're going to right click on start, come up to system, okay, and we're going to go ahead and change computer name, domain, and workgroup settings. Okay, so we're going to change settings here, and we already have a good computer name here, Windows 10 eval. You can put whatever you want there. To rename the computer or change this domain or workgroup, click change. So pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so member of domain. Now we're going to put this on the domain that I created, which is just my domain. Now it's .local, but you don't have to put .local. Okay, it's just assumed by Microsoft that that's what it is, and so just you can put my domain. And now here's the fun part. So it's going to say, hey, enter the name and password of an account with permission to join the domain. So we need to put in an administrator login at sorry guys, I'm goofing up here, and it already says my domain down here, so it should just let us in. Okay, let's sign in. This takes a minute sometimes while it's trying to contact the directory server and apply all the settings and whatnot and get it on the domain. And then it's going to have us reboot, but let's let it go ahead and get us on the domain here. So I hope this has been pretty straightforward for you by now. Normally it doesn't take this long. Hey, look at that, it did it. Welcome to the My Domain domain. There you go, you joined the domain. Now it's going to make us restart to apply the changes, so that's okay, that's fine. Let's just restart now. Let that reboot. I'm going to pause. Alright guys, as you can see, we're back here to our login screen. It's still bringing us up with a local user. Okay, so we got to come down here to other user. So sign into my domain. It's already set to do that. So we're just going to go ahead and put zhooter and log in. And that will get this user on the domain. Or I'm sorry, this computer on the domain, and we're logging in with that user. And that user is being managed from the domain controller. So it's going to set up that account and the desktop and everything. If you're using redirected folders or something, it can take a while to configure everything. So it just depends on how you have it set up. Or roaming profiles can take forever and whatnot. So that's how you get joined to a domain. How you join a workstation to a domain. If you guys have any questions, please just shoot me a comment down below. I'm going to go ahead and pause this video while we wait for this and come back here in a second. We're going to take a look at a few things. Alright guys, and we're back. We finally got logged in. So now you can see here, we're logged in as zhooter, okay, which is the account that's being managed from the domain controller. We can come up to system now and look at our information and see that we are on the domain. So you can always change settings to go back off of the domain, and it will ask you how to, or it'll give you a prompt for the administrator password and user login and whatnot again when you pull it off the domain. Same process. But that's it. Got you on a domain. This guy's ready to go, and you're all set. Then if you have any mapped drives or whatnot, you can map the user's drives and get everything configured and do all that fun stuff. So thanks again, guys. You all have a great evening.